Hello, my friends. Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Wherever in the world you're joining, welcome to Open Source Friday. You made it. I am so happy for you that you made it to Friday. I'm more happy for me because I'm taking time off next week. But welcome to Open Source Friday. Welcome, Randy. Randy, you're a friend of the family, man. You're family now. Thanks for tuning in all the way from Colombia. Welcome, Jeff. Welcome, Cool Face Fashions. Thank you so much for being here. So, for those of you who are new to the show, Open Source Friday is a show about open source. We take this hour on Friday afternoons to celebrate the maintainers, the contributors, and talk about the awesome projects that make our lives so much easier. My name is Andrea, a Colombia dev in all places. I'm going to be blind for you so this glare is not distracting you. But welcome, welcome. In case you missed it, there is an entire playlist. And what you just saw is our new promo. Shout out to my friend for the awesome music. But open source for the best, right? Like he gifted it to us for us to use. There is a awesome playlist in YouTube where you can actually watch all past episodes of Open Source Friday. I'm going to drop that link right here in the chat so that you go ahead and save it. And then later on or on the weekend, when you're chilling and you're like, I don't know what else to do today. I want to watch something that's fun. Fun is guaranteed. Making promises here, but it is. It kind of is. So let me just go ahead and share that link, and please let me know in the chat where are you joining from. I wanna know where you're watching us from. I already know that Randy is joining from Colombia. Thank you. Also, I want to know if you're watching the World Cup. Very important. Extremely important. Extremely, extremely important. And then, hello, welcome, Ajum. Thank you for being here. Let's see. I don't know what this is. It looks like spam. Don't spam the show, please. Don't spam the show. But for those of you who are joining here, you're here to learn. Welcome. Welcome from the Philippines. This is awesome, Jojo. You are from a long way away. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. That's the beauty of open source. We get to be a part of something bigger than all of us. And where you are in the world does not matter. That's part of why I love open source. So tell me where you're joining from. Tell me why you love open source. And then we're going to introduce our guest. Let me tell you, I am a big fan of this human in all levels. In all levels. You know how they say don't meet your heroes, and you know people online and you're like, that person seems really cool. They're like, anything they put out, I subscribe to the newsletter. We're gonna talk about that too. That's not what he's here to talk about. We're gonna have to talk about that too. And then sometimes you meet them in person and you're like, well, that was a hell of a letdown. That was not the case when I met this fantastic human being. And I am so grateful that he's not only an amazing open source person, maintainer, GitHub star. I say friend. Welcome,
Hey,
BTG.
how's it going, Andrea? Good to see you.
Good to see you. First of all, can we talk about your shirt, my man?
Oh yeah. So yeah, I guess so. If you want to go to the GitHub shop, they're selling these. They're called Cabana shirts. I call it a Hawaiian shirt, but
Yep.
um, there was the Maintainer Summit recently. I don't know if you want to link to that, but after attending that, Ashley Wolf actually sent a thing saying, "Hey, here's a coupon for the GitHub store," and I was like, looking at what was there, and I was like, I don't need a beer cozy or drink cozy. I've got stickers. I'm like, I need a good Hawaiian shirt, and I saw that, and so it came last week, and this is one big props I got to give to GitHub is their swag is always super comfortable. I don't know. I'm sure everybody who's ever been to a conference and you get some kind of t-shirt from some booth and you're like, it's like sandpaper or it's
Yeah.
like
You're like, this will be to
really
clean my
rough.
windows.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, exactly. This stuff, I feel like I'm in silk sheets right now. So I'm in heaven right now. So
I am loving this. Listen, this is going to be a promo for the shop. Please go to the githubshop.com. And if you want that super sweet t-shirt or actually Hawaiian shirt, it's pretty sharp. I worn it before. If you go to our
yeah,
YouTube channel, you see I did a download, the last download wearing it.
yeah,
I wore it for one of our events during Microsoft Build. So I feel like you'll get your mileage out of it. It's a fun
yeah.
fit. It's a really fun fit. It's got shorts. Did you get the shorts?
I did not get the shorts, but funnily enough, I ordered one of these and I got two for some reason. So
Bonus shirt. Say only at the GitHub shop. I love it. I love it.
results may vary. You might not get to.
But speaking of cool swag, I won a pair of socks with this beautiful face
Oh
on
yeah.
an event. I think it was during Jason Torres's birthday extravaganza marathon stream for like 24 hours, and you were one of the folks who came in and brought some presents. And I'm like, I
Yeah.
never win anything, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, and what? And then they came in the mail, and my kids jacked it. Like my kids stole them from me.
Oh yeah.
I love
So
it.
so the funny story here. So like where I work at in the open source project is called Pomerium. A lot of people have trouble saying it for some reason, and a lot of people say Pomeranian.
That's what I was gonna
And
call it.
so yeah, exactly. And like I don't know, I guess I'm biased now because I've said the company name like very often, but I told the marketing team, which is just basically my manager, and I'm on marketing and engineering, but basically I said like, why don't we just have this like crazy dog as like it's not our actual logo. The logo's the arches there, the thing that looks like an M. And so I did this kind of like quick one in like not Sora, I forget what I was using, the ChatGPT images or whatever, and it gave kind of like a Tasmanian devil look. And then we got an actual designer who they used AI, but we ended up with this. And I kid you not, like people take these stickers all the time, the socks, like you were saying. So here's to not being able to pronounce names properly. You end up with good swag, I guess. So.
That was a happy accident if I ever seen one. I love it.
Yeah,
The stickers are super cute as well. Like, no, this good swag, man. This quality swag. That Pomeranian looks badass. So I'm here for it.
yeah.
I'm here for it. Well, my friend, this is what you're here to share with us. So can you, first of all, for those of us who are completely new to Pomerium, tell us what it is? Where did it come from? Give us
Yeah,
a little bit of
sure.
background on the project.
Okay, so here's a shout out to Excalibur. I'm a big fan of Excalibur.
Amazing
Um,
project.
so I'll give a short history because I don't want to bore people with history. But basically, if anybody's ever used Google Cloud like GCP, they have something in there called an IAP. It's called an identity aware access proxy. Identity aware proxy. Uh, this is something that internally is used at Google. Like anybody that works at Google, even if you're not in engineering, everybody knows what it is. They call it Uber proxy internally. So essentially they had this like massive security breach in, I think it's 2009 or 2010. And somebody got on the VPN, I believe, and just wreaked havoc. And so they just kind of went to the drawing board and said, like, we gotta rethink, security. And so they came up with zero trust security as a model. And basically, like, what it is, like as a concept, is you're always verifying things all the time. So like, it's not just like that first request to like access some resource. The next time you access it again, it's going to verify it again, and it goes through a few things here. So like, in the diagram here, folks watching the stream, let me know if you need me to zoom this in a bit more. I can, but basically, Pomerium here, that's what's called the identity aware proxy. So it's an open core thing, like, like a lot of companies that work in open source. There's enterprise, but we're not talking about that today. Essentially, an identity aware proxy consists of three things. So you have a proxy, a reverse proxy, I should say. You have a policy engine, and you have an identity provider. So let me pull this out of here, actually, because it's not necessarily in there. But the identity provider is something people are pretty familiar with. That's like logging in with Google or GitHub or Okta, whatever you use at your work, and Microsoft Entra. So that's the identity provider. The policy engine is basically something that determines based on a set of rules or policies, is it true or not? Does this policy evaluate to this entity or person is allowed to do something? And then if they are allowed to do something, it goes to the reverse proxy part. And then only at that point do you actually go to your actual thing you're trying to access. So this is a lot different than like, if I'm assuming people have used VPNs before, but like when you're on a VPN, you log in and then you have access to the whole network. So like, even, you might not be able to log into like the HR portal because you're not on HR, you're in engineering or whatever, but that HR portal is like on the network. And there's some modern VPNs that they segment the network. So, maybe the HR thing is in another part of the network that only HR can, VPN into. But regardless of the segmentation or not, whatever's on the network is available to you. And basically, I think most people know there's all kinds of hacks going on, the CVEs and stuff. You kind of have to consider that there's bad actors in your network. Even if you have great security and stuff, the perimeter is no longer, like the way to stay safe. And I mean, like, there's a reason why like the Trojan horse like viruses are called Trojan horse, because like if anybody knows the story of that, it's like a present was given to a king, and then like the Trojan horse is just sitting outside, and then there's a whole army inside it. And then once they get in the perimeter, they wreak havoc. So that's why like the perimeter really like can't be the security boundary now. So now, and the other thing too is like, think like during the pandemic or when people started working remote more, not everybody's in the network. So like, yes, there was the VPN, but like basically you can be anywhere to do work. That doesn't matter. What matters is, are you logged in through your identity provider? And for whatever internal resource you're trying to access, do the policies for you pass so that you can actually access the thing? And the really big difference here too is when you're on a network, you like everything's there. With this, you have the identity aware proxy in front, so you're not even in the network yet. If the policies don't pass and you're not logged in, you're never even in this internal network. So like, it's like, in terms of security, it's like, even if there was a bad actor and they logged in somehow, the policies probably wouldn't pass. So they just don't get into the internal network. And this is super important because it's a really great way to safeguard things. And the other thing is, so I have a few internal resources here. So for example, we've got like a web app, a database, or like an MCP server. If I'm trying to access the MCP server, for example, when I log in, like for anybody that's done any MCP stuff, there's an OAuth flow and stuff. that's what's going to happen. But then there's going to be some policy checks, and it's going to say like, does Nick have access to this MCP server? If I don't, I'll get an error, and I never get to the actual MCP server. I only get to the, like, air quotes, kind of proxied server, which you just never got through. But if I do get through, I obviously access the real resource in the internal network here. And the other thing to mention about that is, once I do get access to that internal resource, I only have access via north-south traffic, meaning like I came in and then I went straight to that thing. Once I'm in there, I can't say I want to go over to the database or the web. Like I don't even see those things. Like I don't even have access to them. So they're basically segregated. It's like micro segmentation, if you want to get fancy. And like obviously, like the MCP server could talk to the database, but that's like that application itself. I mean, like the user themselves would not have access to other stuff in that internal network to move around once they're in. So that's kind of like the TLDR of it. And like I said, Google uses this. They obviously have its closed source. So basically, my CEO, who, oh, hey, from Romania. I was there. I was in Sibiu about a week and a half ago. Yeah, so like basically my CEO, he created this project called Pomerium in open source. And it was basically an open source version of everything I mentioned about Google and these Beyond Corp papers that talk about the white papers that we can share a link to that if not. So that's kind of what it is. It's a lot to take in, and security stuff can be intimidating, I know, but and I'll be honest, like when I first started here, I was very confused. So,
Oh, no, this is super interesting to me though, because honestly, now more than ever, like we have to be so mindful. And you said obviously the increase of remote work like added layers of complexity when you're not physically going into an office to tap into whatever network. But even then there were problems with VPN, right? You didn't have
yeah,
what you have with Pomerium, like that sort of granular permissions, and the fact that that's that for every single resource. I love that.
yeah,
So
yeah,
they built this, they had this massive issue at Google. Then it was built inside Google. Uh,
yeah.
I'm assuming this is built in Go.
Yes, ours is built in Go. I don't know about Google, but I would assume it's Go as well. Go is really good for networking, and it's a pretty solid choice. I see a question in the chat from Randy Reyes. I can answer that if you.
Oh
I don't know if you
yes,
want to share that on the screen.
wonderful. Yes, thank you for catching that, and thank you so much. Let's see. Oh, I think I missed Randy's. Let's go with Steve's first, and
Okay.
then we can address Randy. Thank you, Randy, for being here. So thank you, Steve. How does it compare to like Work OS?
Yeah. I'm familiar with Work OS, but I know they have some newer stuff, so I might not be as familiar with that stuff. But Work OS is typically like you can use it as an identity provider, and like I know they support multi-identity provider. Like you can kind of have, I think you can kind of have a virtual identity provider, which is like maybe you say at your office you're using Okta, Google, and something else, or GitHub. I think Work OS now has some kind of authorization stuff. It might be more MCP specific. I'm not positive. Steve, let me know about that. But from what I've understood in general, Work OS is just really good at the the authentication layer, and I think there's a bit of authorization that they provide too. But I'm not as up to speed. I should ask my friend Nick Nisi, who works over there. So
Interesting. Okay, and then let's go to, and thank you for the questions, Steve. Appreciate it. Let's go to Randy then. Since Pomerium forces pre-request context authorization instead of just checking the session like a traditional VPN, how do you mitigate the latency overhead for high throughput apps? That's a good
yeah,
question because speed matters.
yeah. Yeah, it definitely, and it's a really great question, Randy. So the first thing is, this is something you always self-host. Like even if you're using our paid product, it's always self-hosted. So you basically install it at your network's edge. So like if you're in Azure or GCP or AWS, you're gonna install this on your network edge, close to all your resources. So there technically is some latency, but I would say it's negligible. And this is a solution that's really good for securing internal apps. You could do it for public facing too, but like, I think the big use case is really protecting internal resources, whether that's like databases or web apps or MCPs, etc. Um, oh, hey, Will, how's it going, man? Yeah, so I don't know if that answers your question, Randy. So technically a little latency, but like, I mean, we're talking negligible, like you blink or maybe half a blink. I don't know.
Okay, no, that sounds. But listen, if that blink is the difference between you having a massive security issue, like is worth it.
Yeah,
So for like traditional BPM, I guess you explained it beautifully with that amazing Scala draw earlier. You connect to the thing, and then that's it. You're in. Versus this, I'm trying to like make a mental map for myself. Then it's per application and per resource, so it's much
yeah,
more granular, and it checks every time. So
yeah,
it trust that you logged in, like you show us, but then you are in a part of the company that you do not need access to this internal resource. So that's not going to be something that you have access to. Like doing those
yeah,
company policies that can get super complex. I can see how this will be super, super useful.
yeah,
Tell us a little bit about the way that you've seen people adopting Pomerium. Then I know, like I can think of like companies that have a ton of contractors, or
yeah,
like it would be just an amazing like less headache for the security people. But what have you
yeah.
seen for teams that are switching to Pomerium?
Yeah, a lot of people just like the security model. Zero trust has become very popular. There's a lot of people that market as zero trust, which aren't really zero trust as well.
Ooh,
Not gonna throw shade at
spill
anybody,
the
but like,
tea. Yeah, no, but they're calling
yeah,
it something that is not. So, but
yeah, or it's like kinda like it, but not exactly. So, but yeah, sorry, go ahead, Andrea.
no, no, no. So, okay. So, zero trust in practice. Yes, you're correct. It gets thrown a lot. Um, but when you're like, let's think about a scenario, for example, that you see maybe in the wild where zero
Yeah,
trust caught something that, for example, let's say VPN security couldn't catch.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, so basically, like when you're on a VPN, so you log in, and yes, there might be multi-factor authentication or something with the VPN, but once you're connected, you're just on the VPN the rest of the day, unless you get disconnected because your internet goes down or whatever. So you're basically considered trusted at that point, you
mhm.
know. But that's, like I said, that's really not the case anymore these days. There's just bad actors in general. Who knows? Maybe disgruntled workers. So, uh, I guess like for a visual, like picture like the Olympics people swimming.
Mhm.
You have your own swim lane. It's the only lane you can go in. Like that. Think of that as how you're accessing the resources. So it's like you get in lane one. That's you can't get out of it. I mean, you could get technical and say, well, if you get disqualified if you go into the other lane, but just try. Like that's kind of like a good visualization. Think of the network as the pool and the lanes as really like the application access or internal resource access, going through the identity aware proxy. The other thing is in terms of like the verification all the time. Think about people that have, I'm sure everybody's been to like a club or some kind of event. You get a stamp on your wrist, or you get a band, and then like you're gonna be like try and be super, sneaky and be like, hey, let me give you my armband once. I'll give it to somebody and they're gonna go out and give it to you. That other person gets in maybe, but like you go out and they're gonna be like, "Where's your band?" Like because it's gonna check you every time. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
it's
Mhm.
like, so there's not really, there's no kind of sneaking around things, and like good examples of it. I gave a talk about it. I can share that too. But like, there's this person, Frank Abagnale. If anybody's ever seen the movie Catch Me If You Can with
Oh,
Leonardo
excellent film.
DiCaprio,
Yes.
but basically everything he does would not have happened with zero trust. Like, yes, it was like the 60s and 70s or whatever, but he was like impersonating people, saying like, oh, I need a suit. Oh, okay, now I look like a pilot and stuff, and so that's why this like constant verification is super important. Like even think literally at the airport, like you go through security, you have to, show your boarding pass, you show your boarding pass is kind of like the policies, like you're allowed to go to this gate. Your passport is your identity. But if you have, like, I don't know, this happened to me once. Like, I left my iWatch in the Apple Watch in the bin, and basically I was like, oh man, I couldn't go back because like I was gonna miss my flight. But had I gone back, I would have had to go through security again. There's no way I could just say like, oh yeah, I forgot my watch, I'm good, don't worry about it. You know, security's gonna be like, no way,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
So that's why this constant verification is super important, and having it close to your network's edge is what really helps. But you were mentioning about contractors, and that's a super valid one. This is a use case that people find super helpful with this, because you have policies and you could say like, this person is in the contractors group, you could remove them, or maybe it's like literally their email, you remove them. And these policies, not only are they fine grained, they're dynamic. So as soon as they change, people will get revoked. That next request, you know, like if their email is no longer in the policy check, they're going to be denied immediately. And I can show that briefly.
Yeah. Let's take a look at that, because I do want to ask you also like what IDPs you integrate with.
Yeah.
And then if we can see it in action, that'll be
Okay.
phenomenal.
So here's I'm gonna share. I don't know if I can share links in the chat, but this is one that is public. Okay, I can't share. I'll share it with
you. Share it with me, and then I can plug it on the chat.
Yeah. So this is a live site. So I've registered. I have a domain, imdeveloper.com. So if anybody goes to that verify, I'll show you what it's gonna look like. And anybody in the chat can do this. I'm just gonna log out, and I'm gonna go to it. So I'm going to be redirected. I'm using what we call our hosted authenticate, and it supports like email, Google, and GitHub. But you can also connect with like Okta, Auth0, Microsoft Entra, pretty much any OIDC Connect compliant identity provider will work. That's pretty much the gist of it. And there's configuration. We have presets that you can get like config for, but if you have like a custom one, as long as it's OIDC Connect compatible, it will, or in theory should work. So I'm gonna log back in. I log in with GitHub, so you're gonna see here, and now I can access. And I don't know if like at least one person in the chat can tell me if they were able to log in or not. I can go ahead and change the policy.
So I tried to log in, and it says that I need to, that my something expire, or I need to check my email for the link. But I think I did.
It's because you had to create an account.
That might be it. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so well, even if you haven't logged in, yeah, okay. I'll show you briefly kind of what the policies look like. So let's go to. Oops, it would help if I was in the right folder. Okay. Config. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So let's take a peek here. So there's a few things in here. This stuff we can omit for now, but let's just go look at. So like an application, it's called what's called a route. So if we look at that verify one here, okay, let me zoom this in a bit. Okay, so you can see here, so there's a route consists of a few things. You have the from property, which is essentially the public facing URL. And that's something I should also mention. All these links are always public, which seems counterintuitive to security, but like even at Google, it's they're public URLs. It's the policies and the identity provider that do the gating. So this is where you access on the internet, and internally, we support Kubernetes as well, or you can run it straight on Linux, but I'm running it in Docker right now. And so I have this image running called verify on port 8000, and that's what this maps to. And passing identity headers, that's just to show the information about you. So like if I come back to, where was it? Here, that's just showing this information about me, like nick@nickyt.co and stuff. And if we come back, and then there's a policy. Now, policies can be like super simple. Like in this case, I'm just saying any authenticated user, or it could just be an email. But these can also be more complicated. It could be like, device posture. Like me on my personal phone versus like a work phone. You know, the time based, that it really depends. They can be super simple or super complex. That said, a lot of people just tend to use the simple ones. So now if I come here, let's go ahead and modify a policy. So we'll go to that verify. Okay, and let's see here, come down to, okay. So I'm gonna change the policy here to just make it similar to this one here. So let's come up. I am not a Vim or VI expert for anybody in the chat, but I'm slowly learning more. Cool. All right, let's add this in here. So I'm just adding the policy, and I'm going to go ahead and save that. Now, nothing should change because it's all I'm basically saying at this point is I'm only allowing myself. So if I refresh this, I'm still going to see it. But let's, just for argument's sake, I'm going to put a typo in my email. So let's say Nico or Nick0, and I'm going to write, I'm going to come here. And when I go again, you're going to see all of a sudden I'm forbidden this. So this is the immediate revocation because the policies change.
Oh, wow.
And the important thing to remember here is this is on the IdentiWare proxy, not the actual internal app. So like you might have application logic, you know, like if role is admin, do something or whatever. That's even before any of the application logic's a separate thing. This is like really gating the resource in the IdentiWare proxy to decide whether or not you get access to the internal one or not. So that's what makes it super powerful. So like a perfect example is what you mentioned before is like a contractor. It's like, oh, Nick's no longer working with us. We parted amicably. He did amazing work, but he's got to go work somewhere else. So remove him from the policy and boom, immediate revocation. Not kind of like the next time you log in, you won't be able to. It's like immediate. So that's super cool.
You mentioned something earlier about it being the that is only web-based. It's browser-based, right? So you don't really need to install like any special client software to use this. Okay, I feel like that's a huge plus, no?
Yeah, so there's a few things. There's like any kind of web-based stuff. So the IdentiWare proxy for our implementation, it uses a CNCF super mature reverse proxy called Envoy, because that's important to people sometimes. So just going to call that out. But yeah, you my brain just fried. What was your question?
About it being browser based. So I don't have to install any kind of client external to I just need to have a browser to be able to.
Yeah. So for any web-based resources, exactly, there's no client for this. The IdentiWare proxy operates at the application layer, or L7 as they say. So yeah, it's just handled with literally like web tech. The other thing is, I'll show this now, and I'll just get out of here. We also support native SSH. So like, if you look here, like this is me, I SSH'd into, I just have a box where I set this up. This server here actually is a proxied SSH server. So meaning it's not the real SSH server. Like it's everything I've mentioned about like in the context of web-based stuff, the same thing applies to an SSH connection. And it's actually native SSH. And the way this is possible is, I mentioned Envoy as the mature reverse proxy we have in place. Envoy, you can do, it's like any kind of networking coming through there. So we actually built an Envoy extension that handles native SSH. And so basically you don't, even for SSH, you don't need a client. And this is pretty huge. Because like, I don't know if like GitHub's a big company, obviously Microsoft's a big company. I worked at a place called Autodesk before. Even as a dev, you're not allowed to install stuff on your machine, right?
Yeah.
So absolutely. Like obviously the org, if they decided to use something that has a client, they would install it. But like maybe there's a constraint that you can't. So like this doesn't require it at all. You obviously have to have Pomerium installed, but And essentially, I'm just going to show what's a little different here. So it's the things to be super concrete about are the SSH command here. It's the native SSH client of your operating system. Like this is not a Pomerium thing. This is literally, I think on Mac OS, it's OpenSSH. I forget what it is. But if you're on WSL and Windows, it's whatever that is. I haven't been on regular Windows in a while, so I can't speak for that. But like Linux, same thing. It's just regular SSH. And then you have your user here. Whoops, of course I messed that up. Hold on a sec. Hold on a sec. There we go. Let's get back in the matrix. Okay, so you have the username. That's pretty common, the demo @ but then you're going to notice there's another piece here. There's this jump @ right here. And then there's the actual SSH server. So like I was talking before about applications being routes in Pomerium, like I showed you that config with the from and the to and the policies. The same thing applies for SSH. You can have a route for an SSH connection as well. So the route name in this case is jump. And so this is me SSHing into the box where Pomerium is actually running. So, and I'm using port 2200 just because otherwise it'll override the existing port 22 for SSH. You can get around that, but just for like demo purposes, it's easier this way. And then what you're gonna see is I'm gonna connect right away here, and I'm on the box now. Now, let me just log out though. So is it? I always forget the syntax. I think it's this. Yeah, okay. So let's assume this is the first time I'm going to connect via SSH.
Okay.
So I'm going to go ahead here, connect. This looks pretty normal, aside from the thing that looks a little weird there, the @jump. And also just to clarify about the @jump part, it's not a hack. It's actually legal username usage. You can have an @ symbol in a username. So basically when the connection happens, we split on the user and the route, so we know what the route is. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say, like, I'm going to connect here. And just like in the web-based, you would have a login. Now I'm going to get this like login URL, and I'm going to go ahead and click on it. And of course, it goes off screen. But hold on a sec. Where did it go? Let me do it again where I have a browser window open.
Okay. Do it. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay. Oh, it already logged in. Sorry, it did it here. I was already logged in, so I went through the login flow and it said my sign-in was successful. And now I'm logged into the machine. So basically all those policies I was talking about, those apply to SSH as well. And I can prove that to you. So just how you saw the immediate revocation of that verify webpage, let's go ahead and go to the config again. Okay, and now the funny thing is, when I change this, I'm going to get disconnected immediately. But okay, so let's go up to the top here. Lots of comments. I'm just going to go to the jump route. Where is it? I should probably just look for it. Okay, so just like the web-based applications, there's a route for SSH. So in this case, the jump here, that's the name of the route. And this is the actual server that it's going to proxy to. This is just a fancy Docker URL here. But basically, you have the policy here where it says only I'm allowed to log in. So I'm going to go ahead and change this. And in theory, and in reality, hopefully, when I change this, I'm going to get disconnected immediately. There we go. I got disconnected. So this is super important because think about if you're an SRE or you like incident response or something going on, the SRE team will usually have access to prod, but like, who knows? Maybe they're like, Andrea, you were working on this application. We need to bring you in. We're going to add the policy so you can access some prod resources. Just come in there with us. Let's look at logs or whatever you need to do in there. And then once you're done, They're like, all right, awesome, thanks, Andrea. They remove you from the policy, and then you get disconnected immediately. And this is super important because like the way it works with like bastions and like when people go into boxes like this is they've been given access to do this. There's a key on that specific machine for them so that they can access it. And once you're on that machine, it's like you can be there as long as you want. There's nothing aside from like, you know, a teammate saying, hey, Andrea, can you get off? You know, like I think you're done working.
I need you to cloud. Yeah. Which if I'm a bad actor, I'm gonna tell you to fly.
Yeah, exactly. So like that's super important. So like, and you, because those policies, they can be like emails, groups, whatever, time-based, or even again, like it's an enterprise feature, but like if you had like you know, like device specific, like my work machine versus my personal, I wouldn't be allowed to get to prod on my personal machine, you know? So like basically those policies just apply to SSH is all you need to know. And being revoked immediately is super important. The other thing is the way this works is, and I can bring up the demo. We don't have to go through this tutorial, but you can share this link.
Oh yes, let's share it. Let's share it because I look
so
pretty
this
good, and everyone can do it, right? Like it's a free lab.
Yeah, it's in this is a really great website. My coworker shared it with me a while ago. iximuse.com. It's kind of difficult to pronounce, but basically lots of great content in here. There's free and paid stuff. This tutorial I made is completely free. All you have to do is sign up, but it explains everything I was just kind of talking about. And I'm not going to do everything here, but like I'll just kind of talk through some of the points here.
Please
so
do.
Essentially we have the SSH client, like I was saying, and you make that SSH connection. It goes to Pomerium, where that's the SSH server that you actually connect to. And it determines via policies and whether you're logged in or not, if you should get proxy to the upstream server. That's like, you can get deeper in this diagram, but I think this is the best way to just kind of show it high level. And a few things to note is, you know, typically when I want to SSH to a machine, I have to have a key on that machine for my user. In the case of Pomerium, you don't have to do that. So like there still needs to be a key on that machine, but it's specific for Pomerium. And then basically what happens is when you log in with Pomerium, it generates these ephemeral certificates for your current session. So you log in, it gives you a certificate to say that you're allowed to access this particular resource via SSH. Once you disconnect, that ephemeral certificate disappears. And this is super important because, again, in terms from like a maintenance standpoint for like an SRE or anybody, they don't have to be like, oh yeah, Andrea is no longer a contractor here. We've got to go through all the machines and find where she logged in. We got to remove those keys. You don't have to do any of that. It's just like immediate cleanup because there is no keys. So this is super, it's like a literal super valid use case for SREs or just maintaining your servers. And yeah, I encourage you to go through the tutorial. It doesn't take that long. Most of it's just copy paste, but it explains how things work. And it also shows that immediate revocation that I showed you. So you can test that yourself. And there's also some resources here. Just check out the tutorial. And then at the end, I've got links to like native SSH and stuff. And just the policy language. So in terms of like the syntax for writing policies.
I love that. I love that. And we had a comment earlier, and thank you so much, Mike, for being here about how you can get super specific with the policies. That flexibility is tremendous. And then the $1 million question, I'm surprised it took us so long to get to it, because Will has a point that I was also thinking about. This feels useful for AI agents. Can you speak a bit to that?
Yeah, so I can talk it in a few contexts. So like, I'm sure people have heard of OpenClaw. So there's, I actually contributed to the OpenClaw project.
You got a PR in? What's up,
Yeah.
Nick? That's awesome. Yeah.
I'll share it in the chat if people want to, I forget where I can drop it to you.
I'll ping you so you can see it.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So other people have contributed to this since, but I did the initial PR, and this basically adds a trusted proxy auth mode to OpenClaw. So this means like I obviously like part of my job as a developer advocate is like I'm always like, can I secure this thing with Pomerium? So obviously when OpenClaw came out, I'm like, hey, can I secure this? And I was able to secure it without this feature I added, but this made it first class support. And it's not Pomerium specific. It's basically called trusted proxy auth mode. So you could use like Nginx with OAuth, whatever you use. So it's abstract enough, like it works for Pomerium too. But that was the motivation behind that. And I actually gave a talk about it at AI Engineer Europe. It was a short talk, is like the OpenClaw track, but I can kind of show you what this gives you. So this is my home lab. So this is my OpenClaw. And like, I encourage, like, here's the true test, I guess. I'll send the link and people can try and access my OpenClaw.
Oh snap! Yes, do that.
Yeah,
I love this.
you know, no regrets, as they say.
No regrets. What I want to battle test is this.
Yeah. So I might get DDoS, but basically it's the same thing with Pomerium. So like I'm gonna log out here. There's no logout button in here, but I'm gonna go to sign out. And
Nick, come in. I'm about to turn your lights off. I don't know what you're talking about. Just kidding. I got a big fat forbidden. A big fat forbidden.
Yeah, so there's a few things here. So like if I go to it, I'm not going to get forbidden right away. It's going to ask me to log in. I use Auth0, so I'm going to go ahead and log in. It's going to use my Google, and I'm back in. But everybody else should see that login screen. I only allow Google login in this case, but regardless, even once you log in, you're not going to be able to access this. So there's that. And then there's like, I also secure some other stuff. So just like the workspace, I have something called Claw Space that I created. It's an open source project. It's basically a glorified viewer for your workspace in OpenClaw, except I don't know how to type. There we go. Hopefully I don't show anything here. So like basically it's literally mainly a file viewer. I'll just go into stuff like here, like I use my OpenClaw to do like competitive analysis for work and stuff. There's a few things here, and this is super handy because I don't have to SSH into my OpenClaw to get my workspace files. I can just look at it here. And then, of course, I'm using Monaco editor from VS Code, you know, and I basically use my OpenClaw that way. So this hardens access to it from a web, the control plane for OpenClaw, but also SSH, like I showed you before. If I want to SSH into my OpenClaw, I use Pomerium as well.
I need this. I need this for all those reasons. Because I've been trying to do a lot, like just use repository base, but then that's another layer of I need to give permission. I need to give write access to a repository to be able to get the claw to push whatever. So
yeah, exactly.
This is great.
So I obviously have locked myself out of my machine now. So I'm going to go by the IP. What is it? And I'm just going to put that policy back. You won't be able to access this anyways because I have a policy on there like in DigitalOcean, but let me just put this back because it'll make my life easier. I'm just doing a quick time check. Okay, cool.
We're good. We're good.
Cool. So I'm going to just put the policy back so that I can SSH into my own machine. Where was it? SSH. Oh, did I fix it? Nick at, it looks right. Nick at Nikki T. Yeah, it seems okay.
But it's not .com, is it? No.
Hold on a sec. Okay, yeah, no, I forget what I changed. Hold on a sec.
I think it was at .com, no? Because you're like that .co. Maybe it was the.
Oh yeah. I thought I put a 0, but oh yeah, .com. Sorry, yeah, you're right. Thank you. So, okay, so one, I've been immediately revoked, but now if I quit and come back in, I have access again. So like it's immediate revocation, but also immediate, whatever the opposite of revoke, access or, okay. So another thing I want to talk about is I'm sure people have probably, even if they haven't worked with MCPs, I feel like everybody at this point has probably heard the word or acronym MCP.
Oh yeah.
So spoiler, we support MCPs. So MCPs, it's remote MCP servers to be specific. It's just web tech. It's literally web servers. That's what it is. So this actually fits really well with Pomerium because Pomerium works really well at the application layer, layer 7, which is HTTP. So we're a natural fit to work with MCP. So we can act as an MCP gateway as well. So like the whole IDP and the policies, that applies to MCPs as well. So I never hear people saying, I'm so excited to implement OAuth for my application.
No.
So surprise or spoiler, you don't have to if you're using Pomerium. The whole flow I've shown you multiple times now, that's the whole OAuth layer for your MCP. So you can literally make a naked MCP in the sense that it doesn't have OAuth in the actual MCP. And we handle that part, and it's up to you to just build your MCP, your tools and stuff. So let's just go into, where am I? Okay. Yeah, that's right. Okay, and let's do config, config.yaml. Okay, so there's a few things here. You need to enable MCP for Pomerium. So it's just a flag up here. Where is it? Just say runtime flag MCP true. And then let's do, where is it? Dev MCP. Okay. So basically, there's not much config you need to do. It just looks like a regular route, like I was showing you before, the from and the to. The only thing that's different is there's this MCP section now. So we're building an MCP server. So we just have to say, this is just the way you have to write it in YAML. So MCP, and then you just say it's a server. We also support being a client, but for this, I'm just going to show you the server. Now, we handle the OAuth flow like I was mentioning, so you don't have to implement that. But also, if you have upstream OAuth, so imagine like your MCP connects to your Google Calendar or something in GitHub, you have to do that additional OAuth flow through there. You don't have to implement that either. We handle that for you. All you need to do is provide like the OAuth app configuration, so like the client ID, the client secret,
Yeah.
but we handle that whole flow for you. And again, it's just the similar bread and butter stuff. There's a policy associated to this MCP, so only I can access it. So let's go ahead and get a little more interesting now. Okay, so I got VS Code here. Okay, no, that's not it. I got too many VS Codes open. Okay, yeah. All right, so I have an MCP template. I can share that, or it's if you just go on my GitHub profile, you'll see it. It's one of my pin things. So I'm just going to start this TypeScript MCP template. It has one tool on it. It's just echo. So like you'll see it here. It just says echo, and it echoes a message back. Now, another thing I'm going to show is you can have a route and it's like configured in Pomerium and it just connects. But that would be like assuming I had the MCP server installed where I have Pomerium running, like in the network. In this case, I'm actually going to create a tunnel so that I can actually build my MCP locally. And then I can expose it with a public URL. And then I can, because like for people who have worked with MCPs, remote MCPs specifically, if you want to use it in like Claude or ChatGPT, you actually have to have a public URL. For VS Code, it's not necessary because it's running on your local, but for any basically web-based LLM, you're going to need to do this. So basically, I'm going to do the same thing. Well, not the same thing, but similar. I'm still SSHing to the proxied server here. But this is, and again, this is just native SSH. This is nothing Pomerium specific. I'm just using the -R for reverse SSH tunnel. And this is this is the route I have configured in Pomerium. And I'm just going to say I want my localhost 3000 to tunnel to that. And if we go back here and look, there is the policy of like only I'm allowed to add to it, but there's also this new section of policy here called upstream tunnel. So this policy section here is specific to SSH reverse tunneling. And basically what it says is only I can start the tunnel. like, and that's important as well, because like maybe you in your organization you might want to have more than one person being able to start it, but this is like typically just a good flow for local development. The other thing to mention is because it's tunneling through your own infra, you're not going through a third party, and that's a big no-no for some people, especially if you're in Europe. Data sovereignty, privacy, security are super important, so it's kind of nice. So I'm gonna go ahead and start this. It's not gonna show any feedback saying connected and stuff, that we have an issue to do that. But basically, I have an MCP running on port 3000 here, and it should be accessible here. So if I come over and let's go to ChatGPT and let's go to settings. So a few things, if you start building MCPs, there's a few things you need to do if you're in ChatGPT. You have to go to advanced settings under apps, and you have to make sure developer mode is enabled. And there's another thing you can enable. This is for building MCP apps, but basically this checks content security policy. But for now, let's just come here, and I'm gonna go ahead and create a new app. So I'm just gonna call it demo, and I'm gonna paste in the URL here. And it's using OAuth. You don't have to use OAuth, but we're using OAuth, and Pomerium is gonna handle this. And yes, I understand, I wanna continue. So I'm gonna go ahead and create this connection. And so what's gonna happen now is, and just to kind of drive the point home, I'm running an MCP on my local host on port 3000 right now. I've exposed a public URL for it through the SSH reverse tunnel that's running through Pomerium. And now I'm gonna go ahead and sign in. So the whole OAuth flow for an MCP is happening through Pomerium, through the IDP and the policy checks. Because it's, you know, LLM stuff, it's non-deterministic, so you never know when it finishes. So we'll give it a second. But okay, so it says now I'm
here. All right.
Okay, so we can see here it's connected, and that should be it. Okay, just gonna refresh it because I don't see the tools, but let's see here. Is that running properly? I'll just run it again in case. Okay, so basically there's an echo tool that's available to us in the MCP. So now let's go here, and if you haven't used an MCP in ChatGPT, you basically do @ and then like we'll say demo. And I'm gonna say echo what's up GitHub. Now, again, it's going through Pomerium, but it's actually connecting to my local host. It's calling the tool on my own machine here. It's gonna find the echo tool, and it's just gonna echo what's up GitHub. So let's come back here and let's just change something up. So let's just say, cool. Yeah, well, I'll be done in a couple of minutes here. I'm just checking the time.
You're good, you're good. And I do have a couple of questions that I wanna make sure we get to.
Okay. Okay, so let's see. I'll just say, hi, Andrea. Here's what we echoed. Now, this has nothing to do with MCP. I've done a lot of web dev. I'm just running a Vite server in Node with watch mode, so it's just gonna automatically update. And let's come back here and let's do @demo. @demo, did I delete it? Ah, I was in another window. Where was I? Did I just nuke it?
No way.
No, I don't think.
There
it is dev mode. Oh no, it's there. Okay, refresh. Yeah, it's there. Okay, why is it not showing up? Oh, there we go. And I'm gonna say echo yo or uo. Okay, so it's gonna echo it again, but I modified my MCP, so the output should say, hi, Andrea. This is what we changed or whatever. And again, good old non-deterministic.
I was thinking.
Okay, I said Andres. Sorry.
You did. That was you, not ChatGPT.
Yeah. So this is just a really cool workflow in terms of MCPs. You can do this with just web resources too, like a web app. I just happen to be doing it for MCP because this is a valid use case for MCP. There are obviously other tunneling tools you can use if you want to. I'm biased because I work here, but I find it super useful, and it's a way to just showcase the things. And like, we don't have time, but like I could obviously expose this MCP to everybody, and then they could try it, and they could try the echo. But we've seen the policies change before already, so I don't think we need to go through that.
That's very cool. Someone had a question about for an application specifically, if
Yeah,
they wanted to use it with an app that wants to pass through your app using,
yeah,
for example, a button like OpenID Connect style.
yeah. So this is basically it proxies in front of whatever app. So like I'll show you an example. So like I have Grafana here. So you can see here I'm logged in as me. This is like from Pomerium. If I sign out, I'm in Pomerium. So if I come back to Grafana, Grafana has its own login flow, but they also support proxies. So like with some config, you can basically give your same security posture to apps you use like Grafana or whatever. So I don't know if that answers their question, or if they just want like what's the button they want to do specifically, like aside from saying it connected, like I guess what else.
Well, we'll see if Steve's still in the chat, that maybe he can drop that.
Okay.
And then finally, a comment about the wristband stamp club analogy. That was a really good one. Also the airport one too, because being able to, like, you're in the airport, but doesn't mean you can go get on any plane that you want. So thanks.
Yeah.
I think you clarified zero trust for us a lot.
Yeah, I know you shared my website, but there's talks about this. So the OpenClaw one here, it's briefly AI Engineer Europe, but the one about the airport, I forget where it is. I gave the talk a couple times at SRE Day. It's here, Zero Trust from Airports to Identity-Aware Proxies. It kind of goes through that whole flow, talking about it, and also this is a side note, but one, if you've never seen the movie Catch Me If You Can, I encourage you to watch it. It's a great film. But also the real life person, Frank Abagnale, he gave a talk at Google. It's in my slides here, but where is it? Basically, it was just a killer talk. He was just talking about all the stuff he did to be able to get into things, and then I think he was talking at a Google security thing. I'll find it, or basically, folks, just check it out in the talk section of my site. You can find it. But yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. Okay. And well, in terms, of course, this is an open source project. In terms of contributions, first of all, everybody go to the repository and leave a star. You can do that right now. And then I want you to share with us, like, what kind of contributions are you looking for, where the community can be the most helpful. This is super interesting though. Like, honestly, even if you're not necessarily, like, if you're not in this world, everyone needs to worry about this. Like, this is important to every single person that's building.
Yeah, and you'll see a lot of people are talking about zero trust security now, including even securing agentic workloads. I showed an example with MCPs and like hardening access to OpenClaw, but there's also like the lethal trifecta that Simon Willison always talks about. Like that's there's just a lot of work going into security and AI right now. So I guess a few things. One, infrastructure and security are just going to become even more. It was always important, but like with AI, it's becoming even more critical. And I think people are realizing this because everybody's like vibe coding stuff or just doing stuff, and they're like, oh yeah, I got to secure that stuff. So, but yeah, in terms of contributions, you obviously you would need to be familiar with the concepts. I encourage you to check out the docs and stuff. We do have open issues. People do contribute. I've done a lot of front end. I don't think it's the same thing as like, let's just fix this button kind of. It's networking. Some of it is, and I don't mean this to gatekeep. What I mean is like I'm still learning a lot of this stuff. And security can be really hairy. Like my coworker who implemented the SSH, he knows like the open SSH. He knows the SSH spec inside and out. I do not, So there's a level of detail that matters in terms of security as well. But I encourage you to like go ahead, clone the repo, try to get it up and running. Hit me up on socials or wherever. Happy to chat if you're stuck on something. We have some guides as well in the docs in terms of like if you want to like get it set up with like Grafana or like Jellyfin or whatever you're using. It's great for home lab use case too, not just like enterprise. I mean, I'm dog fooding it because I work there, but like, for example, a year ago, I did not have a Kubernetes cluster on my desk. I do now. So, but yeah, I encourage you to just check out the open issues. If you think there's something, always start with a conversation. Don't just go ahead and throw up a PR. We also, because times are changing, we do allow AI when you're contributing. But we have an AI disclosure that you need to, be honest about. And also just don't throw up AI slop PRs, right? Like if you do totally use AI, I use it every day, but like review what you're looking at, be critical of what you're doing with AI. It's just a tool at the end of the day. So
AI mindfully. Very well. Very well.
Yeah.
Nick, this has been awesome. Real quick, I want to catch Steve's comment about his button. So he was thinking if someone has their own application and they want to use yours as a white label, so they need to pass through their users to your app, seamless.
Okay, so if I'm understand, there's two things. I think maybe there's one, you would basically you could like I showed like the example of where like you're securing something that's in your own network, but you can still do zero trust. Like I used to work at Netlify. You could host something on Netlify, and even though Pomerium is not in Netlify because Netlify is just, it doesn't support that kind of stuff, you can put security in place where it checks the JOT that's coming in or the assertion headers, and so you could actually still front something that's hosted elsewhere. The only difference there though is there would be latency, because like whatever the latency is between where you're hosting it and like Netlify or Vercel, for example. So typically people do it for internal applications, but you can definitely, if you got something hosted elsewhere, it is possible as well. And I know it's something we're kind of looking into, but like Pomerium could end up being kind of like the OIDC connect layer. Like right now we're the IDP. Sorry, we're not the IDP. The IDP is like bring your own. And then we have the proxy and the policy engine. But who knows? Maybe it could be that layer. Like like transparently, it would still be doing all the Pomerium stuff, but it would just kind of act as like an OIDC connect layer potentially. I don't know if that answers the question, Steve, but if not, feel free to hit me up and I can point you to people who are probably more knowledgeable than me about it.
Amazing. Well, Nikki, where can people find you? I share your website, but I feel like you're the most active on Twitter, maybe.
Yeah. So on Twitter, it's just Nikki T Online. I'm Nikki T Online pretty much everywhere. So, and all my socials are in the website if you go there too. So
fantastic. Thank you so much for joining Open Source Friday. Real quick before we go as well, where are you gonna be next? If you haven't seen Nick talk, like go watch one of his talks first of all, because you're a fantastic educator. You're like a great storyteller, so I'm never bored when I'm watching you talk.
Oh, thank you.
But is there anything else coming up for you that people can catch up with you in person?
Yeah, I'm actually gonna be in San Francisco for work the week of July 13th. I'm gonna be there all week. I'm gonna like meeting up with some coworkers. And at the end of the week, we actually have a hackathon going on that we're partnering with like a few companies. I'll share that link. Why do I keep losing where you keep showing me the links?
That's okay. That's okay. I'll tag you again. This is not the most
okay, I see it.
user
Okay,
friendly.
Yeah. Cool. So this is the Luma. If you're interested, it's in person in San Francisco. So that is one constraint of the hackathon. But feel free to sign up. There's an approval process for it because it's limited space, I believe. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. We're going to be doing all things agentic building stuff with zero trust security and all other kinds of goodies. So
I love it. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Nick. I appreciate you being here. Thanks for coming to Open Source Friday. You'll have to come back and teach us some more. I feel like this needed to be like a two-parter. Like, because
Stay
it's a
tuned on
ton,
the next.
for real, it's a ton of content, and I think it's content that's so relevant to all of us. You did some bold things here today, man. Sharing your home lab's address. I didn't know what you were gonna show, but I'm impressed. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. No, thanks for having me on. Always great hanging, Andrea.
All right, I'll see you soon, Nick.
Yeah.
Friends, don't forget to go by the Pomerium repository and give it a star. Please do that for me now. And then if you happen to be in San Francisco, this sounds like a great event. And I'm obviously very biased because Nick is a fantastic person. So you'll get to be a part of whatever they're building. Go participate in this hackathon. It sounds like it will be fun. Give Pomerium a try. If this is your jam and you want to contribute back to the project, take a look at the guidelines in the repository, start the conversation like Nikki said. And Nikki, I can't believe I didn't share I'm going to take the time to do that because Nikki writes one of the best newsletter there are out there. Honestly, like this is one newsletter that is funny because whenever I've started writing my own newsletter, I was talking to my boss about it, and she gave me Nick's newsletter as a point of reference. It's like this is the kind of newsletter that people love to read, and so it's been quite a treat for me to be able to see it and learn from it. And I'm sure it's on his website as well. But I'm like, I want to share the Beehive. Nick, if you're still in backstage, drop me the Beehive direct link to your newsletter, please. Thank you, thank you. Let me see. I think I found it. Yeah, subscribe to One Tip. I found it. Y'all, do yourselves a huge favor and go subscribe to this newsletter immediately because it is phenomenal. It's literally, it respects your time. It's one tip a week. And I've learned all kinds of things. I mean, literally all kinds of things. So thank you everyone for being here. I will see you in a couple of weeks. I'm taking some time off to rest and rejuvenate. I'll be back ready to just get on with the summer. And we have amazing programming coming up. Next week, we have someone from GitHub, one of my most new favorite hovers, Angela. Angela has been she's an engineer. She's been doing some incredible work. She's one of the engineers that work on the auto model selection, but she's coming to talk to us about open source. And actually, it's going to be a really good talk because we haven't done one of these in a while where we talk about how you can even get started. So if you're joining this and maybe you've been a passerby, maybe you've been lurking, you've been watching these episodes and you're like, you know what? Zero Trust is where it's at and I want to contribute. Watch this episode next week because it's going to give you a great overview of what open source is, how you can be making meaningful contributions there. And I think she's even going to talk about doing contributions with AI, which Nikki was so kind to clarify that they welcome them, but keep the slap away. Thank you all so much. Have a great week. Take the rest of the day off. Thanks for being here.